So picture this, right? It's 1917, you're an American citizen, and everything is pretty fine. You have a house, a family, and a nice job that pays okay. The recession is hitting you pretty hard, but you can manage on what you've already got to get you through it. But suddenly you hear the news that America has entered a war with the Europeans, and you start seeing posters that look a lot like this. What is this? What does it mean, and why are you seeing it? This is propaganda, and it's a concept that's followed humans throughout most of our written history. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, propaganda is ideas or statements that may be false or exaggerated that are used in order to gain support for a political leader, party, etc. When looking at it from base value, it seems like something counterintuitive. If you want people to listen to you, why are you lying to them? Well, it's actually pretty damn effective, and we've been seeing variations of propaganda for a very long time. Some wise man once said, if it ain't broke, it isn't going to get fixed, and propaganda is a good example of this. It ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So if that's the case, let's look at some examples of propaganda and see how it's evolved over the years. First, we'll take a trip back, and I mean way back. Let's take a look at propaganda in ancient Greece. I'm sure you're wondering, what sort of propaganda do we have recorded of ancient Greece, you know? Ancient Greece is kind of its own thing. Well, you'd be surprised. Alexander the Great had done something that nobody else had ever succeeded on before, and that was conquering a whole lot of the Persian Empire. To control all of this land would be somewhat of a remarkable task, but some scholars have an idea that would suggest that propaganda had a lot to do with this. The Amazons and all the myths they're portrayed in are always depicted as strong, elite fighters who rarely lose. Yet when we look at Greek artwork, which portrays the Amazons as the enemy, well, they don't look very elite. In fact, it's the Greeks who do. That's right, it suggests that a lot of the Greek artwork we see today can be classified as propaganda to rally the troops up and make them more willing to fight for the same cause. I'm not saying this is 100% true, but it's an interpretation nevertheless. So if that's the case, we've got the Romans, who are also notorious for their great empire as well as their affinity for sculpting. One of the most obvious pieces of propaganda from the Roman Empire is their currency, which has been found over the ages. Take a look at this coin from the rule of Emperor Constantine. Fun fact, real quick, Constantine is widely regarded as the emperor who made Christianity the official religion of Rome, but he's not really that guy. He was the first Christian ruler, but he didn't legalize Christianity in the Roman Empire. It was actually the next guy, Theodosius, who did that. Edict of Thessalonica in 380 AD. Look it up. Anyways, yeah, look at this coin. It shows Constantine's face as well as some Latin words that translate to victory and genius. Well, I don't speak any Latin, so I'm just listening to what the seller has written down here. Also, if you want this coin now, you can get it for the low price of $13,500. These are powerful words that make Constantine look like a crazy good leader, when in actuality he wasn't that much of a genius, and he only had a few victories. A little exaggerated if you ask me. That's a pretty decent example of propaganda, but these first two examples are a little vague in intention other than, look at how great our empire is, or, don't you like our emperor? Propaganda continued throughout most of modern history. It's ramped up extremely before and during World War I, but many great examples of modern propaganda come from World War II and the Cold War. These wars are notorious for their use of propaganda. The Nazis in Germany were masters at promoting their brand, with big quotes around brand, through the use of propaganda. We all know that the Nazis were horrible, and they can't be forgiven for their horrible deeds. And we carry that knowledge around today, but to a German at the time, when they looked at this image, for example, it was very powerful. Germany was in the middle of an economic crisis, and when you see pictures of Hitler with this flag leading the German people to I don't know, safety, when you got this bird flying in the background that represents freedom, then, like, you know, it's very powerful. People are really drawn to that. Hitler wasn't just a leader, he was going to lead the German people from their economic crisis pre-World War II and into a golden era. That's why images like this are so powerful, and that's why they were able to work like they did. Here's another example of Nazi propaganda from World War II. See how it portrays a family together, and they're all happy and smiling and stuff? And then you've got all this horrible stuff that the Nazis are doing that's just being swept under the rug here. It's pretty weird. But, again, it's just showing the positive parts to the German people instead of showing them the negatives, which is why this is propaganda. This has all been historical propaganda from the past, but what about modern propaganda? Surely, as smart as we are and as far as we've come, we can tell when we're shown propaganda. I found some of this on the internet of President Trump. Here's some saying that he's a fascist. Here's some saying that he's a communist. These are really just political cartoons, but this is a form of promoting one idea that is very exaggerated and can be classified as propaganda. Just keep your eyes open when people are trying to manipulate you. When you see something you think is probably propaganda, make sure you check it for relevance, and make sure you know what you're looking at. But yeah, that's some propaganda throughout history for you. Yeah.